You might see that dozens of people were shot in Chicago over the weekend. You might see that tens of thousands of illegal aliens, and let's knock it off with the PC migrants crap, facilitated by the cartels in conjunction with the ignorance of our own government, which ends up seeing thousands of adults and children trafficked for the pleasure of creeps all over the world. You might also see that these illegal immigrants are treated better than veterans who served this country faithfully on the basis that they're fleeing conflict in their own countries. I don't care. You might see that the majority of these invaders into our country are fighting age men without a child or a woman in sight. And you might see on shows like 60 Minutes, of all places, that a good portion of the money we're sending to Ukraine is going to rebuilding farms and cities in that country while our infrastructure continues to fail. Why am I bringing up all of these things that you might be seeing? Because it's your money that's paying for all these things. And it's your future that your government and you pay for with your money, helping everyone except Americans while keeping you in debt. Hey folks, your resident man in black is back again for a new edition of the best kept secret in the conservative movement, things that need to be said. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kangadis. Really quick, head on over to Rumble, subscribe to our channel, and hit that like button. And no matter where you watch our videos, please share, like, and don't be afraid to leave a comment. I actually read what you guys have to say, and I occasionally respond, so don't be shy. Now, on with the show. First, because I just want to get this out of the way, I want to address my hometown of Chicago. I really never thought I'd be saying this, but the people of Chicago deserve everything they get, and I don't mean that in a good way. My entire life, the people of that city bitch and complain about the politicians and then proceed to elect people further and further left, as if not taking progressivism far enough is the problem. I'm beginning to think that the people are the problem. The politicians that constantly end up being corrupt are just byproducts of what the people apparently want. People of Chicago, you deserve every single thing you voted for, and at this point, I don't feel bad for you at all, so I hope you get all those things coming to you really soon. The people want to defund police. They want to be a sanctuary city, and they want to be constantly lied to until the problems they asked for end up on their doorstep. Then all of a sudden, they want to cry about what the politicians are doing to them. But I'm not going to blame the politicians anymore, at least in Chicago, because this is what the people asked for. You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. Although, to be fair, 81 million people apparently asked for a borderless country in which the third world sends us their best in order to destabilize the evil colonialists in America while at the same time colonizing in the US and Europe. Again, you don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. By the time Biden's first term as president, the most popular president in history, mind you, is over, estimates have anywhere from 8 to 20 million people illegally being resettled into the US. And some of you might be asking, why are they doing this? It's simple, really, but no one wants to say the quiet part out loud. For a new slave class and for millions of new voters.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
The difference now seems to be that the current regime in power in the US is spending countless taxpayer money on foreign entities like Ukraine to protect its border, but not our own, and the illegal immigrants who complain about the accommodations that you and I are paying for without our consent. You even have New York City and Chicago politicians complaining about the number of illegals being sent to their cities, which ironically only constitute about 10% of the illegals Texas has to deal with. Keep crying, New Yorkers and Chicagoans. You did this to yourself.
Father, forgive them. They know not what they do.
You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. Farms are closing all over the world in places like the Netherlands and the US, all in the name of climate change bureaucracy that restricts farmers from doing their jobs the way they've always done it. But Ukraine is getting US money to help their farms rebuild and grow larger.
American taxpayers are financing more than just weapons. We discovered the US government's buying seeds and fertilizer for Ukrainian farmers.
All while the price of groceries continues to rise at your local grocery store. You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. And oh, remember how the infrastructure was supposed to be addressed through both the Infrastructure Act and Gayer Pete? Yeah, how's that going? I think the powers that be look at fixing the infrastructure as changing the fabric of the United States and what it means, instead of fixing roads and bridges. Gayer Pete couldn't even handle South Bend, Indiana, but he's supposed to fix the entire country's infrastructure? He's too busy talking about diversity and inclusion and equity and climate change to have any time to worry about the crumbling infrastructure that's poisoning our water. But that's not the man-made climate change they want to talk about, only the imaginary one that only their instruments oddly can gauge that we don't have access to, despite paying for all that.
As somebody who is hoping to retire in the 2050s and who has kids who will be old enough to ask me as they're getting to their 30s whether we did enough to deal with climate change or whether we just did what was convenient, I take that really seriously.
Reclaiming my time, thank you, Mrs. Secretary. The trillions and trillions we're going to cost our kids to chase a tiny percentage of CO2 will bankrupt all of us, and bankrupt our economy, and ship it to China for all the other reasons.
You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. And child trafficking as a result of our unprotected borders? The biggest contributor to child and human trafficking in general is that the cartels now run the US-Mexico border. These animals made 85,000 children disappear a year ago, but you don't hear the establishment elite saying a word about it, probably because they seem to have a vested interest in it.
You'd almost swear somebody's doing it on purpose.
How do you think they convicted Ghislaine Maxwell after Epstein killed himself, and we haven't gotten one Biden sniff of that client list? Well, how many of them are on that list is the first question any rational person should ask. But those questions are never asked of the people who don't want that information to be public knowledge.
It's extraordinary. So it seems like it would be impossible to have a significant connection to Jeffrey Epstein and not know what he was doing. Overtly and explicitly, Jeffrey Epstein then is a realtor, a fixer, a global playboy, but the nature of his connections means what? That he's integrally involved in the true structures of power that are usually concealed from ordinary people.
You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. I guess the summary conclusion of all this is that we have a completely tyrannical ruling class in this country. Forget we the people. They have no interest in serving anyone but themselves. COVID proved they don't care whether you live or die, as did Biden's Afghanistan withdrawal. If they did care at all, they'd call out China and India for climate change neglect rather than tiptoe around the fact that China allegedly and deliberately created COVID and unleashed it on the world.
But you believe the whole thing. They came up with this virus and they unleashed it on the world to destroy the Western economies and to elevate their own position globally.
I want to emphasize one thing is, I would say based on the evidence and the source I have, that the virus was intentionally brought out of this strict lab and released in the community.
I'm not saying COVID's not real. It's a very real man-made virus. But it's been used to infringe on your rights and grab more power and control for those in charge. You don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. And the crazy part of it all is that the establishment propaganda media on every single network holds the water of these people and just redistributes it across the country. They are simply messengers with absolutely no integrity who will say and repeat anything so long as the money is right. Think of them as really well-dressed whores. After all, it's the oldest profession in human history, and you don't have to like it. It's simply the truth. So, am I going to be put in the gulag, or were these simply things that needed to be said? Let me know in the comments what you think, where I do read most and reply to some. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel on Rumble and hit that like button. If you like this video, don't forget to share, comment, and give it a thumbs up. Those are the best ways to help these videos reach more people, and it's the best way to let us know you want us to keep these videos coming. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube might actually let you know when MRC-TV comes out with a new video if they haven't censored or taken it down yet. Like us on Facebook, check out more of our work at MRCTV.org, and if you want to support our content and the conservative movement, head on over to MRC.org/donate to help us out, since we're a nonprofit and couldn't do what we do without all of you. For MRC TV, I'm Nick Kangadis.